So this morning, I would like to go over some words of King David and proving that any peace plan, especially a peace plan of the century, is going to blow up in the face of those who present it, and it could very well begin the day of Jehovah's wrath. Let me go ahead and get screen share up. Let's get started. I'm going to go straight to Psalm 69. And I started digging around for this even harder because I've been digging around this for a long time, and I had trouble finding a match in the prophets to Paul's writings concerning what is 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 3. When they shall say peace and security, then sudden destruction comes upon them like a woman in travail, and they shall not escape, implying it's a trap. And of course, when Yehoshua Messiah talked about it, he said the day of Jehovah's wrath is going to come upon the earth, or is going to come as a snare on those who dwell upon the whole earth. Okay. So this particular chapter is a psalm of David. The waters have come up to my neck. To the chief musician upon Shoshanim, a psalm of David, save me, O Jehovah, for the waters are come in unto my soul. Now, in this particular chapter, he's not just talking about the Messiah, he's talking also about the people of Israel. Because in the end, the people of Israel and the Messiah are one and the same. In other words, how is that? They are one like my dad and I are one. We have one blood, okay? I sink in deep mire where there is no standing. I come into deep waters where the floods overflow me. It reminds me of being deported to the west, to the Mediterranean. I am weary of my crying, my throat is dried, my eyes fail, while I wait for my Elohim. This right here, this is written about in Isaiah 60, how he's going to come and save those who are waiting for him in the coastlands of the sea. Okay? They hate me without a cause. Who? Who has hated the Jews without a cause? Are more than the hairs on my head, or they that hate me without a cause are more than the hairs on my head, that they would destroy me, being my enemies wrongfully. They are mighty. When I restored that which then I restored that which I took not away. So this is not talking about Messiah here. This is talking about how the Gentiles mistreated the Jews, mistreated Israel. How the Jews were forced to restore that which they did not steal. Oh, Jehovah, you know my foolishness and my sins are not hid from me. Is that talking about Messiah? No. No. Let not them that wait on you, O Jehovah of hosts, be ashamed for my sake. Oh, wait a minute. To be ashamed. Seek. Those who seek, those who are confounded, Elohim of Israel. Who was confounded? The Jews. If you read Daniel 9, you'll see. I carry reproach. Shame has covered my face. That's Daniel. Look at Daniel 9. You'll see that's talking about all Israel has had to bear their reproach among the nations in the Mediterranean Sea and beyond. I have become a stranger to my brethren, an alien unto my mother's children. You see, some of us are not even recognized by fellow Jews anymore. It's that bad. For the jealousy of your house has eaten me up, and the reproaches of them that reproached you are fallen upon me. When I wept and chastened my soul with fasting, that was to me a reproach. I made sackcloth also my garment, and I became a proverb to them. Yes, folks. Let me show you something for just a second. I'll have to stop sharing to do this. All right. That's the reason why I wear this and the yellow star in my YouTube videos. You see, folks. Because the Jews have had to bear the reproach of the Roman Christians for 2,000 years now, or nearly 2,000 years. And I wear this in solidarity with them as a testimony against the Roman Christians for what they have done to the Jews. Let's continue. They that sit in the gate, or they that sit in parliament houses, speak against me. You know that's true, folks. And I was the song of the drunkards. Yes, the drunks make up songs about the Jews. But as for me, my prayer is unto you, O Jehovah, in an acceptable time, at a set time. You see. O Elohim, in the multitude of your mercy, hear me in the truth of your salvation. So that time is on the appointed time. It will not be on any other time except the appointed time. And until that, the reproach remains. Deliver me out of the mire. Let me not sink. Let me be delivered from them that hate me. And out of the deep waters, the abyss, the Mediterranean Sea. Let not the water flood overflow me, neither let the deep swallow me up. And let not the pit shut her mouth upon me. You see, folks, here's the thing. Those of us who have Jew and Israelite ancestry in us, we're about to disappear. We have been mixed so much among the Gentiles that even our bloodline is about to disappear. Much of us. But we will be brought back before that happens. Hear me, O Jehovah, for your loving kindness is good. Return unto me according to the multitude of your tender mercies, and hide not your face from your servant, for I am in trouble. Hear me speedily. Draw near to my soul and redeem it. Deliver because of my enemies. This is clearly talking, David talking on behalf of all Israel. You have known my reproach and my shame and my dishonor. My adversaries are all my adversaries. Reproach has broken my heart. I am full of heaviness, and I looked for someone to take pity, but there was none, and no comforters. I could find none of. I could find no comforters. Now, when you go to verse 21, now it's talking about Messiah. If you read this whole chapter, you will receive full context. Okay? They gave me gall for my food. Gall is poison. And in my thirst, they gave me vinegar to drink. And of course, folks immediately go to the crucifixion. Well, that is correct. Now, in the next few verses, there is actually a warning to any Jew who allies with the Gentiles against both the land of Israel and the Messiah. Because, well, I'll just read it and I will explain. Let their table become a bird trap, a jinn, a bird trap in their face. So what it's saying is, let their table snap like a bird trap in their face. Why? Shalom. Shalom means peace and safety, or peace and security. A bait, a lure. So, in 1 Thessalonians 5 and verse 3, when Paul said that, well, let's just go to it for a second here. So Paul is quoting a direct quote here. Verse 2, for you yourselves know perfectly that the day of Jehovah's wrath so comes as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Upon whom? Well, Jerusalem has already received. You see, when the chief priests and the elders conspired with the Romans to kill Yehoshua HaMashiach, Jerusalem got its first. That Jerusalem got sacked, destroyed first. I know the Romans, the Christians, are denying this. Well, you deny it at your own peril, claiming it is a future event. It is not a future event. The future event is the destruction of Rome. Why? Because the chief priests and the elders, hand in hand, conspired with Rome, the Romans, to kill the Messiah. Jerusalem received its punishment. Now it's time for the Romans' turn to receive its punishment. And it's also time to bring back all Israel home again. I will continue with Psalm 69. Verse 23, let their eyes be darkened, that they see not, and make their loins continually shake. Well, this has happened to the Jews of Jerusalem for almost 2,000 years now. Now it's going to be time the Romans turn. I'll explain this in Psalm 137 in just a minute. Pour out your indignation upon them. Let your wrathful anger take a hold of them. That happened. The reproach happened. Let their habitation be desolate, and none dwell in their tents. That happened to Jerusalem. They were all deported from Jerusalem. Because they persecuted him who you have smitten, and they talked to the grief of those of him you have wounded. Repay their iniquity for their iniquity, and let them not come into your righteousness. Let them be blotted out of the book of the living, and not be written with the righteous. The chief priests and the elders, but also those Romans who plotted with them. You see, what I'm trying to explain to you folks, in common law, even to this day, if there is a conspiracy to commit murder against an innocent man, in U.S. law, which is derived from Roman and Greek law, let's be honest about it here for a minute. If one person pulls the trigger, everyone in the conspiracy is deemed a murderer and will be charged exactly the same. Greek law, Roman law, therefore condemns the Romans as well. But I am poor and sorrowful. Let your salvation, O Jehovah, set me up on high. I will praise the name of Jehovah with a song and will magnify him with thanksgiving. Like I said, you have to keep on reading. You have to keep on reading so that you may understand the truth here. This also will please Jehovah. Yes, his name is Jehovah, not the Lord. Better than an ox or a bullock that has horns and hoofs. The humble shall see, not the people, the multi-billionaires who sit in houses and capitals around the world. They will not see. The humble, the lowly will see. And they will be joyful. Joyful in what? And your heart, or the heart of the men, or those men shall live that seek Jehovah. For Jehovah hears the poor and despises not his bondsmen. Let heaven and earth praise, and the sea also, and everything that moves therein. For Jehovah will save Zion. Yes, folks. Yes, folks, Jehovah will save Zion. Mainstream Christianity does not believe that. Do I say no Christian believes that? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that. I'm saying mainstream Christianity rejects for Jehovah will save Zion. And he will build the cities of Yehuda, that they, the Jews, may dwell therein and have in their possession. The seed also of his servants shall inherit it, and those that love his name. What is his name? We just read it, Jehovah. Do you want to dwell there? Then learn to love his name and stop hating it. Stop rejecting his name. So, is Judah and Jerusalem to be blotted out forever? No. Okay. Let's go to Psalm 137, like I said. This is at the first captivity of the Jews by ancient Babylon. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Yes, we wept when we remembered Zion. We hanged our harps on the willows in the midst thereof. And our captors, the Babylonians, demanded us to sing a song. And they that wasted us forced us to be happy, saying, sing us one of the songs of Zion. How shall we sing Jehovah's song in a strange land? If I forget you, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning. If I do not remember you, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I do not prefer Jerusalem above my chief joy. Remember, O Jehovah, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem's fall, who said, destroy it, tear it down to the foundation. O daughter of Babylon. Who is destined to be destroyed. What is the daughter of Babylon? Well, some say it's Edom, others say it's Rome. The Jews prefer to call the Romans Edom because of what Rome has done. And rightly so. It's both. O daughter of Babylon, who are to be destroyed. In other words, Rome's destiny is to be destroyed. Why? Because Rome destroyed Jerusalem. Proof. Happy shall he be that rewardeth you as you rewarded us. Happy is he that does to Rome as Rome did to Jerusalem. Happy shall he be that takes and dashes your children against the stones. Okay? Now, let's talk about the great whore of Revelation. Let's see, Bible Hub. Let's try this. Well, we'll go to Revelation. I think it's in 18. Verse 24. We'll start in verse 1. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth and was lit with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all the Goyim have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth have waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. This come out of her, my people, is literal, not figure of speech, as the Christian churches try to make it. For her sins are reached unto heaven, and Jehovah has remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you. Yes, folks. This is a prophecy of the future, not of the past. Therefore, ancient Babylon is no longer relevant in this particular prophecy. And double unto her, double according to her works in the cup, which she has filled to her double. What cup is he talking about? This one. Let me show you something. You see, folks, this is ecclesia And this is synagogue. You see, this image on Notre Dame represents Jerusalem. And this one here represents Rome. Rome sacked Jerusalem and destroyed it. And now, because Rome and its foul religion has caused the kings of the earth to commit fornication with her and cause them to drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication that is in this particular cup, as we see here. What she did, what Rome did to Jerusalem, is now going to be done to Rome, because Rome did what Babylon, what ancient Babylon did to Jerusalem. Therefore, Rome is now called Babylon. There she is with a crown on her head and a scepter in her hand. Verse 7, how much she has glorified herself and lived deliciously, and so much torment and sorrow give to her, because she said in her heart, I sit as a queen, because she put a crown on her own head. Because I sit as a queen and am no widow, I shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death, mourning, and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is Jehovah Elohim, who will judge her. Now, the initial destruction of ancient Babylon, or not of ancient Babylon, of where the 10 kings destroyed one of the cities, was Constantinople. But in the end, all 3 cities are going to be destroyed. That will be Rome, what today is Istanbul, that used to be Moscow, and that is Istanbul and used to be Constantinople, and of course the third Rome, Moscow. Now, I've done this many times for you. If you want to look, if you want to find out what the third Rome is, just type in third Rome in Google and you will find out it's Moscow. Now, let's go to verse 20. As we just read in Psalm 137, rejoice over her, you heaven, and you holy apostles and prophets. See how he puts the apostles and the prophets together? Why? Because the apostles spoke the words of the prophets, of the ancient prophets. Because Jehovah has avenged you on her. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the Mediterranean Sea. That's right, because that's where she's located. Saying, thus with violence shall this great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. The voice of harpers and musicians and of pipers and trumpeters shall no more be heard in there at all, and no craftsman of whatever sort he be shall be found any more in you. The sound of a millstone shall be heard no more in you, and the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in you, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall no more be heard in all of you, for your merchants were the greatest men of the earth, and by your sorceries were all the nations deceived. Yes, Rome. And in her was found the blood of the prophets and of the Jews. The saints, the Kodesh, are the Jews. And everyone else that was slain upon the earth. It will come as a snare. peace and safety is going to be the bait. Am I claiming that the Trump peace plan is it? I don't know. All I know is peace and security, peace and safety is the bait. And it appears obvious to me that it is a bait to trap Israel, but it's going to end up being the bait that traps the Gentiles instead. Because if, I wonder if I can find this. No, let me see. Because the people in Washington, D.C. know better. They do. I knew I had a, I guess I lost it. Maybe what I'll do is, I'm going to look for it here. I think it's here. Trump envoy says no use for two-state framework in peace talks. Jason Greenblatt states each side understands the term differently, warns both Israelis and Palestinians against rejecting deal of the century. Why would you warn Israel? This is not right. You're trying to bait Israel, and this peace plan is going to... See, what I'm trying to say is the Trump administration does not have to do this. They don't. They do not have to bait Israel into accepting something they don't want. U.S. Mideast envoy Jason Greenblatt warned both Israel and Palestinians against rejecting President Donald Trump's upcoming peace plan and rejected the use of the term two-state solution in an interview released Friday by Sky News Arabic. There was no reason to use the term because each side understood it differently, Greenblatt said in Channel 7. He said both sides needed to be prepared for direct negotiations that each would have to make concessions. They keep saying this. This is wrong. The whole premise of this is wrong if Israel has to make a concession. So this is a trap, and it's going to blow up in their face. Is this the trap David was talking about in Psalm 69? I do not know. We will find out. Is this the trap that Paul was talking about in 1 Thessalonians 5 and verse 3? I do not know. We will soon find out. Is this the trap that Yehoshua Messiah was talking about when he said that the day of Jehovah's wrath is going to come as a snare on all those that dwell on the earth? I don't know. We will soon find out. But it is bait, and it is a trap, and it will blow up in their faces. That I know. And the reason why I know this is because of what Jason Greenblatt said right here. And let me warn once again, the 4 Jews who are devising this peace plan for Israel on behalf of President Donald Trump, you need to be very careful, because you might end up being considered traitors against the King of Israel, against Mashiach. Greenblatt said, oh, here we go. He said both sides need to be prepared for direct negotiations that each would have to make concessions And there will be elements of the deal that each side would be satisfied with and parts each would dislike. Wrong statement, Mr. Greenblatt. Wrong. Resign quickly. Run from this as fast as you can, because if you don't, you might be considered a traitor. Jared Kushner. Run from this as fast as you can, because if you don't, you might be considered a traitor. And the other two Jews who are plotting this to entrap your fellow Jews in Israel, run from this as far as you can. Greenblatt said both sides would miss an opportunity for peace if they did not accept a deal. But he gave special warning to the Palestinians, noting that they had already spoken out against the plan before seeing it and suggested it could have significant and positive impact on their future. Anyway. You see, the land of Israel is not to be bargained with. It is not to be negotiated with. It does not belong to President Donald Trump. It does not belong to Jason Greenblatt. It does not belong to Jared Kushner. It does not belong to the UN. The UN has no say-so over it, no matter how many resolutions they try to make up, blocking the door to the kingdom in Israel. And not even the government of Israel itself has that right. How dare you? How dare you try to force the government of Israel to negotiate land that does not even belong to it? It belongs to the heir, the Messiah. They can't negotiate that land. And if those in Washington, D.C., Paris, London, Brussels, and New York would bother to read Yehoshua 1 verses 1 through 4, you will see that the boundaries and the borders of Israel have already been laid out. Therefore, your efforts in this peace plan are null and void. I think that I have made my case here, folks. There was one more. I may have to stop here. I hope I can find the statement. I sure hope I can find it, because it was here. Man, it was what is it, right wing? Michelle Bachmann. I don't know if I can find it. It's on Right Wing News, I believe. I'll try that. Where is it? I think what I'll do is I'll go to my own email. Well, maybe not. Let's see. Of one term. If he puts pressure on Israel, I can't believe I can't find it. There it is right here. Here it is, folks. 17 hours ago, this was posted. Michelle Bachmann. And as I quoting her, God will deny Trump a second term if he pressures Israel. This is the reason why there's no excuses. Because there are Christians out there who know this. Not that many, but they're there. Former Minnesota Congresswoman and current religious right pastor to the United Nations, Michelle Bachmann, was a guest on Jan Merkel's Understanding the Times radio program again this week when she revealed that she has been in close contact with multiple senior members of the Trump administration to warn them. They are being warned. There is no excuses here, folks. To warn them that if the president endorses a Middle East peace plan that places any pressure on Israel to give up land or make concessions in any way. Now, we just read here on Times of Israel, I believe it is. Yes, on the Times of Israel, that Jason Greenblatt is indeed saying that pressure is going to be put on Israel. And if anyone, okay, in any way, as she puts it, God will deny him a second term in office. The Bible is clear, she said, if anyone touches the boundaries of Israel. She's right. See, I'm not blowing smoke here. I know what I speak of. It's in Yehoshua 1, verses 1 through 4. The boundaries have already been laid out. If anyone touches the land or seeks to divide the land, or if anyone touches Jerusalem or divides Jerusalem, that person or that nation will be divided. That's scriptural. She's right. Will be cut to pieces, it is written in Zechariah. There will be negative consequences. The scripture is clear. If you divide the land or you put pressure on Israel to divide the people from the land, or if you touch Jerusalem, there will be negative consequences. So if President Trump were to reveal a Middle East peace plan that divides the people from the land, or merely puts pressure on Israel or touches Jerusalem, I believe that action could be sufficient to deny him a second term. It is that serious and that profound, okay? Even certain Christians know this. She has sent one. So, in other words, the folks in Washington, D.C. cannot say, well, this fellow Henry Schwery that lives out in the backwoods of North Carolina, nobody listens to him. How in the world were we supposed to find his warning? Don't have to. Because Michelle Bachmann gave you that same warning. If you don't want to hear my warning, fine. Listen to Michelle Bachmann's warning. She's right. But they will not listen to the warning. Therefore, as David said, let their table become a bird trap that blows in their face, and let their peace plan be the bait that traps them in it.